Greetings, this is Doc Ock coming to you live and direct from Black Facts Headquarters Central today with Doc Ock at noon and 9. Hoping everybody's feeling real fine because we're about to get on down with the getting down. Continuing the story of the Queen of Sheba and her only son, Menelyk. That is Menelyk the first, not Menelyk the second. That's right, there's more than one Menelyk. But we'll come back to that later. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and get on down with our story for the day. But before we do that, you know we got to do a couple of things. Number one, we'd like to encourage everybody, if you haven't done it already, to go ahead and give us a like if you're watching on Facebook. Give us a thumbs up if you're watching on the tube. And give us a shout out to all your friends and your family, no matter where they live, no matter how you doubt what they say and the veracity of the things that they put out into the universe. Give them a way to up-level themselves, expand their consciousness, blow up their world view, and be able to see things just like you. Tell them about Black Facts and have them subscribe, like we want you to do, to the Tubular Black Facts channel. So, all that being said, I think we're about ready to go ahead and tell this story. Let's see what we got today for a proverb. All right, proverb for today from Somalia, which is still actually a part of Ethiopia, actually. Proverb for today. In the ocean, one does not need to sow water. In the ocean, one does not need to sow water. And by sow, we mean S-O-W, not S-E-W. In other words, you don't need to plant water in the ocean like you do seeds in the ground, because the ocean has plenty water. You don't need no more water. One more drop from you is not going to make a hill of beans a difference. All right. Meanwhile, let's see where we left off yesterday on the story of the Queen of Sheba and her only son, Menelyk. Boom, shakalaka. Now, if you're watching on the Tubular Black Facts channel, you'll be able to see the images we're currently displaying on the on our Black Facts channel on YouTube. And the first one up is an image of a portrait of the Queen of Sheba. Keep it in mind, at the time this portrait was made, and many of these portraits were made, white folks had never been, for the most part, had never been any deeper into Africa than the North Coast, if they'd been there at all. And so many a time, these pictures are quite Kafkaesque, because as Franz Kafka did, he wrote a book called America, spelled with a K, but he never actually came to America. So he envisioned America and wrote a book about what he thought America would be like if he had ever got to come. Same way these people envisioned the Queen of Sheba. So here you see Sheba, black as pitch. You can't even see that, there's no definition to her face at all, with long, stringy, blonde hair. So just keep that in mind. That would be the reason why. Meanwhile, let's continue on with our story as we tell about the glory of the Queen of Sheba. How the king held converse with the queen, and the queen Makeda, so we know her name now. Her name is Makeda, spake unto King Solomon, saying, Blessed art thou, my lord, in that such wisdom and understanding have been given unto thee. For myself, I only wish that I could be as one of the least of thine handmaidens, so that I could wash thy feet, and hearken to thy wisdom, and apprehend thy understanding, and serve thy majesty, and enjoy thy wisdom. Oh, how greatly have pleased me thy answering, and the sweetness of thy voice, and the beauty of thy going, and the graciousness of thy words, and the readiness thereof. The sweetness of thy voice maketh the heart to rejoice, and maketh the bones fat, and giveth courage to hearts, and goodwill, and grace to the lips, and strength to the gate. I look upon thee, and I see that thy wisdom is immeasurable, and thine understanding inexhaustible, and that it is like unto a lamp in the darkness, and like unto a pomegranate in the garden, and like unto a pearl in the sea, and like unto the morning star among the stars, and like unto the light of the moon in the midst, and like unto a glorious dawn and sunrise in the heavens. And I give thanks unto him that brought me hither, and showed thee to me, and made me to tread upon the threshold of thy gate, and made me to hear thy voice. And King Solomon answered and said unto her, wisdom and understanding are the best things in the world. No, that's not what he said. Wisdom and understanding spring from thee thyself. As for me, I only possess them in the measure in which the God of Israel hath given them to me, because I asked and entreated them from him. And thou, although thou dost not know the God of Israel, hast this wisdom which thou hast made to grow in thine heart, and it hath made thee come to see me, the vassal and slave of my God, and the building of his sanctuary, which I am establishing, and wherein I serve and move round about, my lady, the tabernacle of the law of the God of Israel, the holy and heavenly Zion. Now I am the slave of my God, and I am not a free man. I do not serve according to my own will, but according to his will. And this speech of mine springeth not from myself, but I give utterance only to what he maketh me to utter. Whatsoever he commandeth me that I do, wheresoever he wisheth me to go, thither I go. Whatsoever he teacheth me that I speak, that concerning which he giveth me wisdom, I understand. For from being only dust, he hath made me flesh, and from being only water, he hath made me a solid man, and from being only an ejected drop, which shot forth upon the ground, would have dried up on the surface of the earth, he hath fashioned me in his own likeness, and hath made me in his own image. Concerning the laborer. And as Solomon was talking in this wise with the queen, he saw a certain laborer carrying a stone upon his head, and a skin of water upon his neck and shoulders, and his food and sandals were tied about his loins, and there were pieces of wood in his hands. His garments were ragged and tattered. The sweat fell in drops from his face, and water from the skin of water dripped down upon his feet. And the laborer passed before Solomon, and as he was going by, the king said unto him, stand still. And the laborer stood still. And the king turned to the queen and said unto her, look at this man. Wherein am I superior to this man? And in what am I better than this man? And wherein shall I glory over this man? For I am a man, and dust and ashes, who tomorrow will become worms and corruption. And yet at this moment I appear like one who will never die, who would make any complaint against God if he were to give unto this man as he hath given to me, and if he were to make me even as this man is. Are we not both of us beings, that is to say, men? As is his death, so is my death, and as is his life, so is my life. Yet this man is stronger to work than I am. For God giveth power to those who are feeble, just as it pleaseth him to do so. And Solomon said unto the laborer, Get thee to thy work. And he spake further unto the queen, saying, What is the use of us, the children of men, if we do not exercise kindness and love upon earth? Are we not all nothingness, mere grass of the field, which withereth in its season, and is burnt in the fire? On the earth we provide ourselves with dainty meats, and we wear costly apparel. But even whilst we are alive, we are stinking corruption. We provide ourselves with sweet scents and delicate unguents. But even whilst we are alive, we are dead in sin and in transgressions. Being wise, we become fools through disobedience and deeds of iniquity. Being held in honor, we become contemptible through magic and sorcery and the worship of idols. Now the man who is a being of honor, who was created in the image of God, if he doeth that which is good, becometh like God. But the man who is a thing of nothingness, if he committeth sin, becometh like unto the devil, the arrogant devil, who refused to obey the command of his creator. And all the arrogant among men walk in this way, and they shall be judged with him. And God loveth the lowly minded, and those who practice humility walk in his way, and they shall rejoice in his kingdom. Blessed is the man who knoweth wisdom, that is to say, compassion and the fear of God. And when the queen heard this, she said, How thy voice doeth please me, and how greatly do thy words and the utterance of thy mouth delight me. Tell me now, whom is it right for me to worship? We worship the Son, according as our fathers have taught us to do, because we say that the Son is the King of the gods. And there are others among our subjects who worship other things. Some worship stones, and some worship wood, in other words, trees. And some worship carved figures, and some worship images of gold and silver. And we worship the Son, for he cooketh our food, and moreover, he illumineth the darkness, and removeth fear. We call him our King, and we call him our Creator, and we worship him as our God. For no man hath told us that besides him there is another God. But we have heard that there is with you, Israel, another God, whom we do not know. And men have told us that he hath sent down to you from heaven a tabernacle, and hath given unto you a tablet of the ordering of the angels by the hand of Moses the prophet. This also we have heard, that he himself cometh down to you, and talketh to you, and informeth you concerning his ordinances and commandments. How Solomon gave commandments to the queen. And the king answered and said unto her, Verily it is right that they, in other words, men, should worship God, who created the universe, the heavens and the earth, the sea and the dry land, the sun and the moon, the stars and the brilliant bodies of the heavens, the trees and the stones, the beast and the feathered fowl, the wild beast and the crocodiles, the fish and the whales, the hippopotami and the water lizards, the lightnings and the crashes of thunder, the clouds and the thunders, and the good and the evil. It is meet that him alone we should worship in fear and trembling, with joy and with gladness, for he is the Lord of the universe, the creator of angels and men. It is he who killeth and maketh to live. It is he who inflicteth punishment and showeth compassion, who raiseth up from the ground him that is in misery, who exalteth the poor from the dust, who maketh to be sorrowful, and who maketh to rejoice, who raiseth up, and who bringeth down. No one can chide him, for he is the Lord of the universe, and there is no one who can say unto him, what hast thou done? And unto him it is meet that there should be praise and thanksgiving from angels and men. And as concerning what thou sayest, that he hath given unto you the tabernacle of the law, verily there hath been given unto us the tabernacle of the God of Israel, which was created before all creation by his glorious counsel. And he hath made to come down to us his commandments, done into writing, so that we may know his decree and the judgment that he hath ordained in the mountain of his holiness. And the queen said, from this moment I will not worship the sun, but will worship the creator of the sun, the God of Israel. And that tabernacle of the God of Israel shall be unto me my lady, and unto my seed after me, and unto all my kingdoms that are under my dominion. And because of this I have found favor before thee, and before the God of Israel, my creator, who hath brought me unto thee, and hath made me to hear thy voice, and hath shown me thy face, and hath made me to understand thy commandment. Then she returned to her house. And the queen used to go to Solomon, and return continually, and hearken unto his wisdom, and keep it in her heart. And Solomon used to go and visit her, and answer all the questions which she put to him. And the queen used to visit him and ask him questions. And he informed her concerning every matter that she wished to inquire about. And after she had dwelt there 6 months, the queen wished to return to her own country. And she sent a message to Solomon, saying, I desire greatly to dwell with thee, but now for the sake of all my people I wish to return to my own country. And as for that which I have heard, may God make it to bear fruit in my heart, and in the hearts of all those who have heard it with me. For the ear could never be filled with the hearing of thy wisdom, and the eye could never be filled with the sight of the same. Now it was not only the queen who came to hear the wisdom of Solomon, but very many used to come from cities and countries, both from near and from far. For in those days there was no man found to be like unto him for wisdom. And it was not only human beings who came to him, but the wild animals and the birds used to come to him and hearken unto his voice and hold converse with him. And then they returned to their own countries. And every one of them was astonished at his wisdom and marveled at what he had seen and heard. And when the queen sent her message to Solomon, saying that she was about to depart to her own country, he pondered in his heart and said, a woman of such splendid beauty hath come to me from the ends of the earth. What do I know? Will God give me seed in her? Now, as it is said in the book of Kings, Solomon the king was a lover of women, and he married wives of the Hebrews and the Egyptians and the Canaanites and the Edomites and the Moabites, and from Riph and Querg and Damascus and Syria, and women who were reported to be beautiful. He had 400 queens and 600 concubines. Now, this which he did was not for the sake of fornication, but as a result of the wise intent that God had given unto him, and his remembering what God had said unto Abraham, I will make thy seed like the stars of heaven for number, and like the sand of the sea. And Solomon said in his heart, what do I know? Peradventure God will give me men, children from each one of these women. Therefore, when he did thus, he acted wisely, saying, my children shall inherit the cities of the enemy, and shall destroy those who worship idols. Now those early peoples lived under the law of the flesh, for the grace of the Holy Spirit had not been given unto them. And to those who lived after Christ, it was given to live with one woman under the law of marriage. And the apostles laid down for them an ordinance, saying, all those who have received his flesh and his blood are brethren. Their mother is the church, and their father is God. And they cry out with Christ, whom they have received, saying, our Father who art in heaven. And as concerning Solomon, no law had been laid down for him in respect of women. And so no blame can be imputed to him in respect of marrying many wives. But for those who believe the law and the command have been given, that they shall not marry many wives, even as Paul saith, those who marry many wives seek their own punishment. He who marrieth one wife hath no sin, and the law restraineth us from the sister-in-law in respect of the bearing of children. The apostles speak concerning it in the book of Counsels. And we'll end there on, looks like part 29. So we're ending on finishing part 28. And we're actually going to do a special session this weekend so that we can actually finish the story of the Queen of Sheba and her only son, Menelyk. And I don't know that was, it still may not take us, I don't know, that's still, we're still not going to be able to finish it. It's a long piece. But if nothing else, at least we can move a little bit further into this story, and hopefully we can just kind of lay out exactly what else happened between Solomon and Sheba and the importance of her only son, Menelyk. Okay, her only son, Menelyk, and how that relates to Ethiopia and the 3,000-year Solomonic Ethiopian dynasty, which had as its last sitting ruling emperor the conquering line of the tribe of Judah, his imperial majesty Haile Selassie I, Jah Rastafari. So for all those of you out there that have heard about Rastafari and had no idea who Rastafari was, this is the beginning of Rastafari's story, because it stretches all the way back 3,000 years to Solomon, the son of David. And the story continues today. Okay, the story is still not over, because there have been a number of times when there has been what they call an interregnum, where there is no emperor sitting on the throne, but everybody knows who's in line. And so we still have those people walking amongst us today, actually living in Washington, D.C., as a matter of fact. But meanwhile, let us continue. Let's go ahead and get on with the getting on, because our time is up. We've actually gone over time already. So we're going to this is Doc Ock at noon and 9. I'm just going to close it out right here. I'm going to wave to Alfred, and who else is out there? Leroy Jackson. I see y'all out there. Glad you're listening. Pass on this story to your friends and your family. Let them know that this weekend we will be doing special sessions on Saturday and Sunday. We will be doing a noon live stream. So make sure to tune in for those noon live streams also, or just catch the recorded version, either way. And tonight we will be continuing on with the story of the young man, Abraham Anabal, and the Raiders of the Sands. Okay, so we got two really top-notch stories that we're telling this month as we move into a celebration of the 129th Earth Day of His Imperial Majesty, the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah, light of this world, Haile Selassie I. Peace, may peace be with you as you walk forward in the day, and may you walk with a sure step, a steady gait, and never be late for any appointments that you may have during the day. In the meanwhile, we're going to take a break right about here, and we'll see y'all this evening. Peace with justice, because anything less disgusts us. And you know, we don't like being disgusted, even though we do like being discussed.